McDonald's, one of the most famous fast food chains in the world. It's not the healthiest place, but it's always convenient. Open 24 hours, always bright, always alive. Or at least, that's what most people believe. The truth is, sometimes behind those golden arches, things happen that no one would ever believe. This story happened to me 3 years ago when I was just 17. I was struggling to pay for college. Desperate, I looked everywhere for work until finally McDonald's hired me. At first, I was relieved. I thought, this is just a job, nothing more. But I couldn't have imagined what was waiting for me. I worked hard. I said yes to every shift, yes to every demand, day after day, week after week. My boss seemed pleased, and I thought maybe, just maybe, I could save enough to keep going with school. For 3 months, I only worked during the day, the bright hours, the safe hours. Then, one afternoon, my boss called me into his office. He said I'd gained enough experience and it was time for me to start working nights. "They're quiet," he told me. "Not much happens. Think you can handle it?" Of course, I said yes. I didn't want to look weak. He smiled and told me my first night shift would be Saturday, midnight to 5. The week crawled by, and Saturday night arrived. I drove to work under a heavy sky, the streets empty, the city silent. When I pulled into the McDonald's parking lot, the bright lights of the restaurant stood out against the darkness. It almost looked inviting. Almost. Inside, my manager handed me a long list of chores. Refill all the sauce bottles, wipe the tables, mop the floors, restock cups and napkins. Then he handed me the keys, wished me luck, and walked out the door. Just like that, I was alone. At first, it wasn't so bad. The quiet gave me focus. I refilled ketchup and barbecue bottles, scrubbed tables, swept the floors. An hour passed, then another. Still no customers. By 2 a.m., the restaurant was completely empty, and the silence pressed down like a weight. That's when I felt it. The sense that someone was watching me. At first, it was just a faint pressure, like invisible eyes following me around the room. I tried to laugh it off. It's your first night. You're just nervous. I bent down to arrange coffee cups, but the feeling only grew heavier. Finally, I glanced toward the window, and there, just beyond the glass, was a figure. A dark shape, still as stone, staring in. My chest tightened. My mind raced. But when I blinked, it was gone. I told myself it had to be my imagination. Maybe a reflection, maybe nothing. I went back to work, but my hands shook as I wiped the tables. Minutes passed. I forced myself not to look outside, but something deep inside me needed to check again. Slowly, I turned my head toward the window. There. Only this time, it was closer, clearer. A tall, black silhouette, motionless, but its head tilted slightly, as if studying me. My throat went dry. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I squeezed my eyes shut. It's not real. You're just tired. It's nothing. Then came the sound. Bang! The glass rattled. I jumped so hard I nearly dropped the rag in my hand. My eyes snapped open, and what I saw still haunts me. The figure was pressed against the window. Its face, if you could call it a face, was twisted and dark, its eyes glowing red like hot coals. It slammed its hands against the glass again, harder this time. Bang! 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 I stumbled backward, my heart slamming against my ribs. My breath came in short, sharp gasps. It didn't move away. It didn't blink. It just stared straight into me with those blood-red eyes. I knew I had to get out. I dropped the cloth, flipped the door sign to closed, and sprinted for my car. My keys nearly slipped from my trembling hands as I jammed them into the ignition. Behind me, I swear I heard the glass groan under the pressure of its fists. The engine roared, and I tore out of the parking lot, not daring to look back. My whole body shook as I fumbled for my phone and called my manager. I lied, telling him I felt sick and needed to leave. He sounded annoyed, but said it was fine. I didn't tell him the truth. How could I? He'd never believe me. He'd call me crazy. By the time I reached home, I felt some relief, but the image of those glowing red eyes burned in my mind. I sat on my bed, still in my uniform, staring at the wall until dawn. That night, I made myself a promise. I would never work another night shift again. Not at McDonald's. Not anywhere. Because I know what I saw. And I know it's still out there. Waiting.